two things happening. One is I met Arab, and it's fantastic to me and hear his father's story and hear the human story and the human cost about his imprisonment and the absolute injustice of not just the trial but his treatment subsequently. But what I also was really struck by on that visit was meeting former Israeli diplomats, senior diplomats, former Israeli senior military and senior intelligence officers who all said the same thing, that Marwan Barghouti is their partner for peace. He's the guarantee, the guarantor of Israeli security as well as Palestinian justice. And that was really, really powerful to hear that from the Israeli establishment. They're not in power at the moment. These are the people who are part of the Oslo sequence. But they're very, very passionate about if Israel has to have security at all, it has to have peace. And the only credible way to peace is having a credible partner. And as Arab has quite rightly said, he's the one figure that can unite Gazans, who can unite people in the West Bank, because he's got so much credibility. And what you often don't hear about is the detail of what he's been doing in prison. He's been giving lectures for other prisoners, the fantastic work he does in promoting peace in everything he does from within prison. And Arab made a really, really valid point. He's a fellow parliamentarian, and I think us as parliamentarians here need to constantly say that and recognise we've got a fellow parliamentarian who's unjustly imprisoned. And that's why the IPU is so important in this, as well as the Parliamentary Group on Human Rights. We need to keep remembering there's someone who represents his people who's being imprisoned illegally, not just under Israeli law, but international law. And that's why Simon, going through the detail of the case is really important, but also why we need to recognise that we can do something about it. And I raised Bangladesh's appalling treatment, as has Alex. I raised it with the Minister. The Minister, Hamish Faulkner, was at least more willing to engage with the issue, but it's clear what's happened at the moment. They're trying, the extremists in the Israeli government are trying to use Marwan as yet another excuse to bring in an even more extreme law, which will be capital punishment. And so we need to stop that as a first priority, but secondly, just make sure that if we as a government have done something historic, which is recognise the Palestinian state, but that's just the first step, the first building block. The real peace is by engaging with genuine partners for peace, like Marwan Barghouti. There cannot be a two-state solution without him, and we need to keep saying it loud and clear. And I just wanted to, as the first question perhaps to Arab, is just, have you got any more updates, Arab, on your father's condition? Obviously one of the advantages about the prisoner releases is that some of those prisoners may have engaged with your father and can give us some information about what he's like and what he's going through. I know you've had difficulty as a family and as lawyers trying to contact him, but what's the latest we've got from him?
Yeah. Yes, thank you. So the last time the lawyer has been able to see him was January 5th. And at the moment we're waiting for the lawyer to be able to see him again. Hopefully within the next few days he will be able to, according to them, but they usually cancel just a couple of days before. In the last visitation, he was very concerned about the other political prisoners. He was saying that through his cell, a few other cells can hear him, so when he speaks to them, he got really concerned about the situation of the prisons in general. On himself, he, of course, knowing him, not having access to books bothers him, not having access to news and information bothers him as well, because the Israeli government is very obviously trying to isolate him from everything, from news, from anything, and even they monitor what the lawyer is allowed to say and not allowed to say to him as well, including family details and family news. He's not allowed to discuss details about family news, for example. And the lawyer has worked very hard in order to be able to get him some blankets and winter clothes, because he didn't have any, and it was very cold in there. But what bothers him is the lack of information, and he still is, as I said, injured and suffers. Like he can't sleep on his left side. He still tries to heal because he didn't get any medical treatment after the the assault that happened in September, where while he was shackled, 4 or 5 prison guards, while he was getting transferred, they stopped him, they put him on the ground, and they started beating him up until he lost consciousness for hours. And when he got to Magento prison, where he is right now in solitary confinement, he got there with, he lost his consciousness before he got there and stayed like that for hours. And I think that, this tells you if the highest profile Palestinian political prisoner goes through this, it tells you the current conditions of the rest of the Palestinian political prisoners. We're talking about 110. That's a minimum number, because it's only the documented cases of Palestinian political prisoners who got killed since October 7th. But of course, they don't make the news because they're not Israelis.